When the next generation of consoles is released, the older consoles are still supported with versions of newer games for them, usually so the developers can still sell copies of those games for the older generation. It also keeps those late adopters from feeling left behind. Either way, it becomes apparent that it won't be long until that old generation's phased out. I like to call this time period video game life support. Hello there, you can call me Ginger Wolf. In this series, I'll be comparing two versions of a game released during the video game life support time. Sometimes the games are simply graphically different, other times they can almost be completely different games. So I'll be determining, in my own opinion, whether or not that previous gen was enough to keep that system going. I'll be doing so by my own 3-point scale. Going from worst to best, pull the plug. Clearly all the developers' efforts went into the next generation version, and you should have definitely moved on. Sustain. You can't go wrong either way here, usually some leeway here and there, but both games are a good time. And finally, discharge. Believe it or not, sometimes the previous gen version of the game is better than the newer one. Today, I'll be looking at an old favorite of mine, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 for the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2. Was this PS1 release good enough to hold PS1 owners until they could get PS2? Let's find out. Let's begin with the PlayStation 1 version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. It was released at the same time as its next-gen counterpart, and developed by Shaba Games instead of Neversoft. Since the PlayStation 1 wasn't as powerful, it basically runs on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 engine, except it adds the reverb. This also means the big drop mechanic's back. I can't even begin to tell you how many combos I lost to that crap. This version has all the levels that you're familiar with already, except in different orders and a few changes here and there because of system limitations. There's even an unlockable level exclusive to this version, Downhill. And it's okay. I guess you could do worse. Once you get down to this bottom part, there's really no going back unless you restart the level. But other than that, it's alright. As for other unlockables, you have two unlockable skaters, Officer Dick and Wolverine. Unlocking them, however, is a giant pain in the ass. To unlock Officer Dick, you have to complete the entire game with a custom character. That means every single goal, every single gold medal, every single stat point. So have fun with that. As for Wolverine, it's even more ridiculous. The game expects you to find every single gap across all the levels. It even makes fun of you for doing it. Well, up yours too, game! As for music, it only has a handful of what its PS2 version has. Granted, it takes most of the best songs from it. Not too bad. Overall, this is basically a DLC to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. It plays just like it, has new levels, new combos, new unlockables, new music, but keeps the big drop mechanic. It's not too bad, and I still had fun playing it. But now let's shift gears, move up to the next generation, see what Neversoft brought to the table. And yes, I know this is the version everyone's played, just let me do my thing, okay? On to the PS2 version. Quick aside though, you may notice that throughout my footage, things look a little weird or textured differently. I recorded this footage using a PS3 through an HDMI on an Elgato, so there's some graphical glitches here and there. But believe me when I say, on original hardware, this game looks immaculate, even still today. Released at the same time as the PS1 version, this one was created by the original creators, Neversoft. With the new generation came a new system, and bye-bye Big Drop. When it came to new tricks, Neversoft really pulled out all the stops. Not only was the reverb added, but hidden double tricks, lip trick changes, and manual tricks were added as well. Additionally, this version has more unlockable characters. Not only do you have Officer Dick and Wolverine, but now we have Darth Maul, Private Carrera, Ollie the Magic Bum from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Kelly Slater the Surfer, a Demoness, and the Neversoft Eyeball. Unlocking these characters, however, is still a pain in the ass if you want to do it the legitimate way anyway. If you're going for it legitimately, I recommend having a lot of time and knowing this game inside and out. Because to unlock characters, you need to 100% the game 10 times. And that's at least for the characters. Moving on to the levels, as I said, all the levels are here in the right order, PS1 version, with 4 exclusive unlockable levels for this version. You have the cruise ship, which is hilarious, and I'll get to it a bit later, and 3 Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 levels. You got the old warehouse, Burnside, and Roswell. As for the music, the PS2 version has the full soundtrack, at least double what the PS1 version had. So now that we know what each version brings to the table, let's see how they compare. Okay, let's talk graphics. As you can see... No, seriously, look, it's obvious. In the future with these videos, I'm only going to compare graphics if there's something to talk about. Here, there's blocky characters on the PS1, where the PS2 has smoother looking models, nicer looking levels, and better lighting. Obviously, the PS2 version is a better looking game. Let's talk about the physics. Yes, believe it or not, these games have different engines. As stated earlier, the PS1 version runs on a slightly modified version of the Tony Hawk 2 engine, and keeping the big drop mechanic. Skating in this version feels a little tight and heavy. You end up making wide turns, and ollies don't lift you up so high. The PS2 version kicks the action up a notch immediately. As soon as you start, you'll swear that there's a motor on your board. When you ollie off ramps and onto rails, you get better hang time. Turns are more precise, making control of your skater totally in your hands. In my opinion, it's a matter of preference. Do you prefer the more classic feel of the Tony Hawk games, or a more fast and loose style? On to presentation. Right away, the differences are apparent upon booting up the game after the opening video. Both main menus take place in the same skateboard shop, except for the PS2 version, you can see your selected skater and the shop owner behind the counter, who actually interacts with the unlockable skaters. Darth Maul force chokes the poor guy. He prepares to fight Wolverine. Bad idea, dude. He surrenders to Officer Dick. He hits on Private Carrera. Badly.
What's up? Who's smoking? I'm smoking. Who's smoking? I'm smoking. Hell yeah. Yeah.
He passes out to Ollie the Magic Bum Stench. Does nothing to Kelly Slater nor the Neversoft Eyeball. And gets set on fire by the Demoness. Just listen. Fun fact, I actually used to like to get the guy to make his moves on Private Carrera and set him on fire and listen to him scream. Is there something wrong with me? Levels are presented as travel flyers in the PS2 version, where the PS1 has just a list. Upon picking a level, the goals are listed on the loading screen, just like the older Tony Hawk games. The PS2 version gives a little more guidance. After the loading screen, the game gives you every single goal. It even shows you where the secret tapes are just to give you more of a hint. Both games have a similar heads-up display, but the PS2 version is a little more stylish in its font. In the PS1 version, you can distribute your stats at any time you want. The PS2 version has you assign them immediately after a run. Also, the PS2 version gets a little more extreme. Every time you bail, there's a nice little splatter of blood on the ground. Both versions have the Create a Skater mode, except the PS1 version is a bit more limited than the PS2 version. I tried to make both of these skaters the same character, but I had to make some changes because not all the options were available in either version. Stupid PS1 version not having red hair. Both versions also have a park editor as well, where you can make your own skate park. I like to test both engines by making a Park-O-Doom, so to speak. In this mode, you're only limited by your imagination and how much your particular version can handle. As you can see, in the PS1 version, I have half an open park here. The PS2 version, I was able to fill up most of my space. The PS2 exclusive level is the cruise ship, where you cause as much havoc as you can while reaching your goals. Cakes get smashed, stuff gets broken, a guy gets sent out to the ocean, and that's just hang here where you can grind on him. It's pretty fun stuff, and if you listen closely, there's some pretty funny stuff over the PA system.
2 on and 2. What the? Hey, look out! Iceberg! Just kidding. We're not friends. The only ice in the Caribbean is in your margaritas.
Finally, we come to the verdict. Was the PS1 version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 enough to keep players hanging on until they could get a PS2? I give the PS1 version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 the diagnosis of sustained. While it's not as excellent and game-changing as its PS2 counterpart, the PlayStation 1 version is sort of like a DLC to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, so it's not too shabby. Honestly, I enjoyed my time with both games, and if you're a Tony Hawk fan, I'd say check them both out. Give a little comparison for yourself. Surprisingly, however, this was not the last Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game on the PlayStation 1, so join me next time where I'll be talking about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Was this one good enough to keep the PS1 going? Let's find out next time on Video Game Life Support. Thank you for watching. Ginger Wolf here. Thanks again for watching my video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to hit that like button. And if you'd like to see more and want to know when the next video is coming out, consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon. I really hate saying that, but you know how YouTube is nowadays, guys. I'm also open to requests for not only video game life support, but for reviews as well. If you have any ideas in mind, please leave them down below in the comments. I will read them. Until then, I hope you're all doing well, and have a wonderful day.